Scientists just discovered something massive beneath the Great Pyramid of Giza. Here's what they found. Scientists used special radar to scan the Great Pyramid and found something shocking. Inside, they discovered 5 hidden rooms and a strange sloping roof. But the biggest surprise was underground. Deep below the pyramid, they found 8 giant columns stretching over a mile down. These columns are wrapped with spiral paths that look like coils. They all connect to 2 huge cube-shaped chambers, each hundreds of feet wide. Old texts have spoken about secret rooms under the pyramid, like the halls of Amenti. Now it seems they might be real. Some experts think the pyramid was more than just a tomb. Nikola Tesla believed pyramids could produce energy. Others say it might have been a giant power plant or even a weapon. This discovery could change everything we know about ancient history. With more research, we may finally uncover the true purpose of the Great Pyramid. Share this with your friends. This could change everything we know.
What do you think about the columns that they think they found underneath the pyramids?
If you read the piece, they say it's 2,000 feet deep, right?
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
That's what and they are like 8 vertical columns, each of which has a little like a stair or a ramp. And then they think that there may be channels that connect them underneath.
Are they giant obelisks?
No. I think it's one of the most amazing discoveries, if it can be proven.
Okay.
It was a sonar. This was right. They figured it out using sonar technology.
Yeah, with sonar, which tells you exactly what the material was, and even the inscriptions, right?
Wow.
Either the world is completely losing it, or what was just discovered under the Pyramid of Khafre will change Egyptian history as we know it. If this is true, it's just insane. And I'll explain my hesitation in a minute. So already in 2022, Filippo Biondi and Corrado Malanga created this high-tech radar called Synthetic Aperture Radar, SAR for short, that using sound waves and vibrations is able to recreate an image of what lies underneath the pyramids. It's basically a way to look inside and underneath without moving a single stone. Now this was 2022, and I'll link the study, which is peer-reviewed, in the caption. But apparently now, March 15th of this year, they had a press release specifically on the Khafre pyramid, and what they released would send any archaeologist into a coma. This is what the SAR images from underneath the pyramid show, and this is a 3D recreation. So from what they show underneath the pyramid, we find 8 gigantic cylindrical structures, obviously perfectly aligned in 4 pairs. I can't even build my IKEA furniture, but okay. And they go deep down into the earth, and I mean 648 meters deep. Those are some tubes. And each of them is surrounded by this circular thingy, like a pathway perhaps. Icing on the cake, at the base of the pyramid, so above ground level, we find 5 chamber-looking units stacked over each other. Just as a reminder, they're made of heavy granite blocks. I've explained in another video in this playlist what a possible theory is as to how they were able to transport them, so go check it out. And don't get mad with me, I didn't come up with it. So 5 chambers on top of 648 meters cylinders that pierce into the earth. You know, ordinary. Also, the cylinders finish, they plant themselves into these 2 blocks, gigantic blocks. They're 80 meters by 80. So this whole thing is so much bigger than the pyramid itself. But wait, this is an image of the whole Giza complex. So not just Khafre, which is right here. Well, it shows that all the pyramids are interconnected from underneath with structures that develop for 2 kilometers. Now, why was I hesitant to talk about this? Because this is awaiting peer review. Major news outlet have not been covering this at all. I saw another creator saying it's been covered, but only in Italy because the study is Italian. I'm Italian and it still has not made the news. This is the only interview I could find where Malanga himself gets interviewed. I'll link it in the caption, but I'm sorry, it's all in Italian. Supposedly they will release more information soon, and if they do, I will of course keep you updated. But if it does get peer reviewed, we seriously need to reconsider the whole, oh, that little pyramid thing, they just used it to bury pharaohs. Both Biondi and Malanga believe the structure has a mechanical function. The ritualistic explanation just wouldn't cut it anymore. It has been thrown out there that pyramids might have had a power generating function that uses the Earth's frequencies to generate energy, and so the cylinders would be where the energy gets stored, which would explain why the radar detected vibrations inside the structures. I saw another TikTok TikTok that said that the researchers will do a 4-hour-long presentation giving more explanation. I was not able to verify this claim, full disclosure, but I sure hope it's true and that they tell us more, because if this gets peer-reviewed and validated, I mean, it would be groundbreaking.
There's a lot of misinformation spreading around the internet right now regarding a possible discovery underneath the pyramids of Giza. Don't worry, I did the research so you don't have to, and I'm about to tell you the facts. Fact check. In 2022, Filippo Biondi and Corrado Malanga published an academic article. It explored a groundbreaking method for imaging the internal structures of the Great Pyramid using synthetic aperture radar, also called SAR. Traditional radar struggles to penetrate solid structures, but this study used micro-movement analysis, which is caused by seismic waves and environmental vibrations, creating a high-resolution 3D tomographic image. It revealed new, previously unknown structures inside the pyramids. But this 2022 paper didn't actually reveal anything underneath the pyramids. That only came later, and this is causing a little bit of confusion. It is only on the first day of 2025 when these same researchers came forward and announced that they made a new discovery using the same techniques, and that they were going to announce it at a press release on March 16th in Italy, Bologna. They went on to tease their massive discovery in several interviews, making some very interesting claims.
It is with great enthusiasm that we officially announce today our research team has succeeded in identifying a vast underground city beneath the Giza Plateau, which corresponds to the legendary Amenti. It could lead to unprecedented revelations about the civilization that built the entire architectural complex, including the pyramids, which now appear to be just the tip of the iceberg of a colossal and hidden project.
Qualitativamente che noi abbiamo trovato lì dentro ci fanno capire fondamentalmente ancora una volta che non sono stati gli antichi egizi a costruire tutto sto bailamme.
Then, the press conference finally happened on March 16th. It was completely booked out and it was very exclusive. We have a 4-hour live stream of that press conference that still needs to be released. Until then, we don't know what is truly discovered yet. That is, before somebody leaked a part of the press conference. Apparently, this person has permission to leak the abstract of the unpublished study that is not yet out. And this is where things get interesting. The title of this paper is called the Khafre Project. Now, Khufu is the biggest pyramid in Egypt and Khafre is the second biggest pyramid. To give you some perspective, this abstract claims that the researchers used the same synthetic aperture radar, which was provided by open source Capella Space. According to this abstract, this software allowed the transformation of the radar electromagnetic signal into phonomic information, which is capable of detecting millimetric displacements of vibrating structures inside the analyzed structure that had remained completely invisible until now. So the tomographic images obtained through this methodology led to the construction of a model of the Pyramid of Khafre, of which there are 4 reconstructions they present to us below. The next phase is where the interesting information is coming from. If this leak is real, and if the abstract is real, these researchers are claiming that they have found structures underneath all 3 of the pyramids in Giza, Khafre being the center point, and Khufu and Menkaure being on the sides. So this is what these scientists are claiming to have discovered, if the leak is true, if the abstract is true. And that also doesn't mean that what they think they've discovered is true per se, but it is worth investigating if it is. So here you can see a 3D model below the ground level of the main structure. There are vertically aligned cylindrical structures that extend for hundreds of meters beneath the Giza Plateau. 8 of these structures are arranged in 2 parallel rows from north to south and descend to a depth of 648 meters. They then merge into 2 large cubic structures, which measures approximately 80 meters per size. According to these researchers, these structures represent the same shape as the so-called Z structure, which is found inside the Pyramid of Khufu, the largest pyramid, above the ceiling of the pharaoh or king's chamber. The 5 Zs appear to be connected by geometric pathways, and alongside these structures, additional secondary structures are visible from various satellite angles. Here you can also see the famous image that is spreading around the internet. So this image is not fake unless the leak is fake. But if this leak is real, then this truly is the abstract that has been provided to us from the unpublished paper, which still has to come out. But that isn't all. I'm about to hold your hand when I say this. These researchers claim that they found more structures beneath those that spread 2 kilometers beneath the Earth's surface. Keep in mind, when I climbed underneath the Pyramid of Khufu 3 months ago, I was able to go about 100 feet below the surface. And even that took a long time to do, and I almost ran out of oxygen doing it. Humans long ago should not have been capable of doing this with our current understanding of history. If these structures truly extend 2 kilometers below the Earth, we are going to have to rewrite the way we understand previous advanced civilizations. Here's a panoramic south-north view of the Giza Plateau with a tomographic line cutting through the Khafre structure at approximately half of its height. So the darker central line corresponds to the edges of the Khafre Pyramids, which have low vibrational content and therefore appear darker. The various bright spots beneath the pyramids represent artificial structures located approximately 2 kilometers below the pyramid plateau. So, fact or fiction? Fact. These scientists did publish an academic article in 2022 using their technology to scan pyramids. False. These discoveries did not come from that academic paper. Fact number 2. These scientists did in fact announce a brand new massive discovery that's going to change the way we see our history and the way the world works. They said they were going to announce this at a press conference that happened on March 16th. False. We don't know what that discovery is yet. All we have is a leak that potentially shows us the abstract of an article that's not even published yet. So unless this academic article is published for all of academia to read and put it under some academic scrutiny, we don't yet know if this discovery is real or not. But if it is, if there is an underground structure that stretches 2 kilometers below the Earth's surface, we will have to rewrite the way we view history. Humans that existed in our ancient past are not supposed to be able to construct something of that magnitude. We can barely construct something of that magnitude. And even if they did, we can't call the pyramids simply a burial chamber for the pharaohs anymore. This would likely have taken far longer to construct than the reigning periods of Khufu, Khafre, or Menkaure. Even for modern day humans, I believe something like this should take many years to construct. So the question remains, why was it constructed if it was constructed? What is it supposed to do? What is its purpose? And will we be allowed to excavate this area with the permission of the Egyptian government? I'll keep you updated the moment the press release is out. For now, you're welcome to check out one of my videos where I climbed 100 feet below the Pyramid of Khufu, and it was really hard to get there. We almost ran out of oxygen. I don't know how it's possible to go even further than that. And 2 kilometers further, I don't think that is even humanly possible.
So this is either going to be the biggest discovery of the century or it's going to be complete nonsense. But apparently the pyramid at Khafre at Giza has been scanned by radar, and that they allegedly detected massive structures that were stirring far below the pyramid. Allegedly, researchers said that they announced the discovery of a normal vertical cylindrical structures that were approximately 648 meters beneath the Giza plateau. They were using advanced synthetic aperture radar tomography. The team reported a complex of 5 multi-layer subsurface halls with sloped roofs connected by geometric pathways and 8 deep cylindrical wells arranged in 2 parallel rows. These hollow cylinders spiral downward and eventually merge into 2 gigantic cube-shaped chambers that are about 80 meters across. Now, the people that claim to have discovered this were Corrado Malanga of University of Pisa and Filippo Biondi of University of Strathclyde. Now, they're saying that these formations are man-made and not natural. Now, here's the thing. This is still waiting peer review and confirmation, so it's not confirmed yet. But it's already started blowing up all over the internet because of the fact that if this is man-made, man-made structures beneath the pyramid that's 2,100 feet below the surface of the Giza Plateau, that could potentially be the biggest discovery of our lifetime, because what that would do is that would prove that there were civilizations back dating before the Egyptians that potentially were more advanced than today's current technology, which would be pretty unprecedented. Now, one of the popular alternative fringe theories that may or may not be true is that these giant structures that were beneath the pyramids were part of a gigantic ancient energy system rather than just tombs. Now, people that are supporters of this are saying that the precision engineering of the pyramids and enigmatic internal structures feature evidence of some kind of power generating machine. Now, the engineer and author Christopher Duns argued famously that the Great Pyramid was essentially a huge geomechanical device, like a power plant, designed to convert Earth's vibrational energy into microwave or electric power. Now, according to the scenario that Christopher Dunn put out, he said that there were resonating chambers and strategic materials like granite in the king's chamber, which were used to amplify the vibrations. The pyramid's architecture guided the energy upward, which could then be extracted. There's a lot of other fringe theorists that are saying that the newly reported vertical shafts and massive cubes underground could fit into this energy mechanism model. For example, a guy by the name of Greg Reese hypothesized that these new findings could suggest that the cylindrical wells might have served as conduits for energy and sound, and that the huge cube structures could have been energy storage or stabilization units, kind of similar to the components that you would have from a large industrial generator, because this stuff resembles giant subterranean capacitors or Tesla coil systems, according to some of the theorists.
In exciting news, researchers have discovered a huge underground complex beneath the Giza pyramids that's sparking some wild theories about their purpose. Using radar technology, scientists found a 2-kilometer network of chambers, spiral wells, and large cube-like structures, which makes us rethink the idea that these pyramids were just royal tombs. This new discovery under the Khafra pyramid has reignited the idea that the pyramids might have been ancient energy hubs. It's not a totally new concept. Inventor Nikola Tesla once speculated that the pyramids might collect and harness Earth's natural energy. The researchers Corrado Malanga from the University of Pisa and Filippo Biondi from the University of Strathclyde released their findings on March 15th. They detailed how they found 5 multi-level structures connected by geometric pathways near the Khafra pyramid. They also discovered 8 vertical wells that go down 648 meters and lead to 2 massive cube-shaped chambers, each measuring 80 meters per side. A video from the Reese report pointed out that this discovery challenges the old belief that the pyramids were just for burials. Instead, it adds support to some long-running fringe theories that suggest these structures could have had some sort of mechanical or energy-producing role. It's definitely a topic to keep an eye on.
Okay, let's talk about the Khafra pyramid news from yesterday. I got tagged so many times to address the conversation that these claims made by Corrado Malanga and Filippo Biondi that they had found this massive subterranean structure beneath the Khafra pyramid is either fake or misleading in some way. So let's talk about it. I was already having some conversations with people who are experts in the space, because regardless of whether this is fake or not fake, the claim is pretty big, which is why I said in my first video, if this is legitimate, if this can be validated, then this is literally groundbreaking. So let's first start with the red flags of this claim, and then we'll move into some of the green/yellow flags. Because the bottom line is it's not as black and white as other people and other creators are making it out to be. Okay, so here are the red flags from a pure scientific perspective. First off, their journal that their 2022 study got published in, MDPI, isn't the most reputable of scientific journals. There are certain scientific bodies in Denmark, Finland, and Norway that rank academic journals based on their quality, and the majority of MDPI journals don't even meet the criteria to be ranked in that list. There is also a strong narrative that MDPI is a predatory journal, which means that the publisher prioritizes profit over quality. Now, does that mean that 100% of the studies published on MDPI should be automatically dismissed as bad science? No. But it does mean that we need to look at the contents of the study a lot more carefully. The other red flag is that their 2022 paper, at least as far as I can tell, was not published anywhere else. The final red flag I'll share is the press release. Now, I'm willing to give this research team the benefit of the doubt. I don't really want to buy into this idea that an entire team of scientists would willfully deceive to this extent. I don't really know what the benefit would be for them or anyone. So while I do find it odd that there's no follow-up link to this press release statement. The other possibility, which happens all the time in media, is they release a statement too early and then they have to retract it. I personally think this is what happened because you typically don't do a press release when the study isn't published yet, because the point of the press release is to promote the study. Okay, on to the green/yellow flags. I emailed Dr. Richard Bates. He's been a renowned geophysicist for decades, and you might know him as one of the lead investigators for the Petra discovery last year, and he's also shot a bunch of fun episodes with Josh Gates for Expedition Unknown. Anyways, I shot with him earlier this month for Teal Science, and scanning and surveying the ground beneath, specifically for archaeology, is all he does. So I told him about the press release, I shared the 2022 paper with him, and I asked him to weigh in on all of this. He wrote me back within the hour, and here's what he said. Quote, "This type of scanning is legitimate," referring to the SAR scanning, "and has found a lot of use in places like Egypt because of a number of reasons. SAR falls into two categories. The first is just straight SAR, where the moving platform that sends out an electromagnetic pulse gives a high spatial resolution for mapping surfaces. In this form, the electromagnetic pulse does not penetrate deeply, and so it's not that useful for mapping beneath the surface. The second use is using an SAR Doppler, where it has been tested as a tomographic technique using analysis of micro movements or very small seismic disturbance from the structure. And SAR Doppler was the method used in Giza and Khafre and in the study. The second technique has promise, but the results still have to be interpreted, and they're somewhat hazy as with many interpretation results. Egypt, however, is a good location to test this method as the geology is fairly uniform and you do not have many issues with vegetation cover or with near surface water, which could cause differences in the subsurface, which would be things that you do not want to map. As we had discussed, geophysics of all types relies on contrast and property, and the new use reported is using the difference between the rock/soil and the voids in the subsurface that is filled with air. I understand there are a lot of technical terms that he used there, but basically he's saying that SAR scanning is legitimate and SAR Doppler technique is also legitimate and has shown real promise in the field, but it's just new and needs more use cases to understand its accuracy. And no, before you ask, I did not ask him to comment on whether these scientists are legitimate because, first of all, that's not professional, and really the point here is to understand if this technique can really do what these scientists are claiming it can. And the answer is, in theory, yes. But again, it's just new, which is why I think the scientific community wants more use cases to fully authenticate it. My hope is that the original research team publishes their study on Khafre soon and is more transparent about their findings and statements here on out.
Everything that was in the dark shall come to the light. All that is hidden shall be revealed. New technology has discovered massive structures under ancient pyramids that could change world history. Guys, we've been speaking about this for a long time. We've been telling the masses about this for a long time. And for a long time, they have called us crazy and psychotic. This is the diagram of the structures that the scientists found beneath the pyramids that goes almost 650 meters deep into the earth. And they have a base as well. And apparently it's now leading scientists to believe that these pyramids were not just tombs, but some sort of energy harvesting machine or mechanism. If you're familiar with what I talk about on this page, well then you know that I believe we are living within the age of Revelation, that the book of Revelation that was written is soon to be fulfilled, and that we are in the time period where the Lord Jesus Christ will remove the veil. And as he said, and as I said in the beginning of the video, all that is hidden will be revealed. All that's in the dark will come to the light. There is nothing that is hidden that will remain hidden, but all things will be revealed. I believe we're in that age of revelation. A discovery like this, scientists are warning, could change world history in the way that we see it. In my personal opinion, I believe that this is all coming out right now so that mankind would begin to understand that there are deeper things within our past that could connect us and catapult us to our future. Things like the UFOs, the UAPs, and potential alien life. We speak about the Galactic Federation on this page. And if you also know in what we're talking about as far as the Bible, the book of Enoch, this is all a part of the deception, the strong delusion that's soon to come on the earth. Now, am I saying that these structures are not there? No. In fact, I'm saying they are there, but they are there because man did not build these pyramids, but rather they had cosmic support from this Galactic Federation, or if you read Genesis in the book of Enoch, you know it's the fallen angels, the sons of God, which left their first estate. In the days to come, we're going to dive into this a lot deeper, especially as this plot develops. Guys, if you want to keep up with that, check me out on Instagram and YouTube, also on TikTok at Blade of Judah. Jesus is coming soon. That's basically the point here, right? I get it. We look crazy, we look kooky, but it's all happening. And you can say, oh, well, there's no credible source for this news article. It's a bunch of hogwash, it's rubbish. You will be saying that to the very end. Jesus is returning. And whether you want to accept it or not, there is a whole lot more to our world history than what they would have you to believe. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. We're only speaking about the pyramids of Giza and Bible prophecy. I wouldn't be surprised that they're going to use this to show us what's all happening in the skies with all these sightings of UFOs and potential alien life. It's exciting times. It's the book of Revelation that we are beginning to see be open and unfold. If you don't have a relationship with Jesus Christ, do us all a favor, do yourself a favor, and get a relationship with Jesus. He's burning to know you. His heart burns for us. God bless you.
Scientists just said that they found new chambers in the Great Pyramids of Giza, y'all. As you can see, they don't know exactly how it looked, but they said it looks something like this. They said it's a hidden corridor deep down in the pyramids, y'all. And the scientists said they found this by using something called a cosmic ray. They said this corridor is 30 feet long. And they said it's hidden behind the main entrance of the pyramid. And the crazy thing is, nobody knew this until now. Like, what? So now that they discovered this, or they think they discovered something like this using that technology, let's just say it's real. What does this mean now? I'm just trying to figure out what this corridor was used for and what's inside of it. And is there any secrets that we need to know about? From the scientists' model that they use, this is what they think it looks like underneath the pyramids. And I'm not gonna lie, y'all. We already don't know how the bitch was built. Now we're trying to figure out how the hell they built that and what the hell is it? We need answers, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down below in the comments. Do y'all think this is really under the pyramid? And if so, what is it used for?
It's amazing that Thoth talks about the halls of Amenti and describes them in great detail. And then all of a sudden we discover this underneath the pyramids. And this information is now making international news. It's like ripping the airways. It's on everything, everywhere you look, this information's out there. And it absolutely destroys the pyramid mainstream building theory. It destroys it. It destroys the mud ramp theory. It destroys the floating block theory. It just rips and shreds they use chicken bones and copper chisels, and slaves built the pyramids if you're a religious person. It destroys all of those concepts, throws it out the window. Like I've been telling you guys for decades now, throw out the slave theory. Pyramids were not built by slaves. Just toss that into absolute trash. No slaves built the pyramids. The stuff that people keep saying doesn't exist, we discovered that it actually exists. The debunkers keep getting debunked when it comes to my information. Even the fake debate people, they've been debunked already by like several dozen real scholars. The findings suggest, they say, that the presence of a substantial subterranean network beneath the Giza Plateau, potentially corresponding to the legendary halls of Amenti described in the ancient Egyptian mythology. The mysterious Egypt, he says, I visited. This I have actually seen, a work beyond works. For if anyone put together the buildings of the Greeks and the display of their labors, they would seem lesser in both effort and expertise in this labyrinth. Even the pyramids are beyond words, and each was with equal, many and mighty, the works of the Greeks, many and mightier than the works of the Greeks. Yet the labyrinth surpasses even the pyramids. He's saying, Herodotus is saying, what's underneath there surpasses the work of building the pyramid itself. And anything the Greeks have ever done, this outdoes that as well. Okay? And it goes into talk about, I go back to the tablets again, because I mix back and forth between accounts and the tablets. And Thoth says, I, Thoth, the Atlantean, master of mysteries, keeper of records, mighty king magician, living from generation to generation, being about to pass into the halls of Amenti. These records of the mighty wisdom of the great Atlantis set down for the guidance of those that are to come after. In the great city of Kior on the island of Undal, in a time far past, I began this incarnation. He says, not as the little men of the present age did, the mighty ones of Atlantis live and die, but rather from eon to eon did they renew their life in the halls of Amenti, where the river of life flows eternally onward. We're going to talk about that river of life, and we're going to talk about the halls of Amenti in these rejuvenation chambers tonight. Really big deal. It's a 2-kilometer underground city found beneath the Great Pyramids, okay? A 2-kilometer underground city. It's just bananas. And it seems to look like something technological. We're talking about something that literally, I'm just trying to find this one donation here and put it back up on the screen on. We're talking about something literally that is so sophisticated that you have to have foreknowledge before you build it, okay? We haven't had this much verifiable evidence since I've been studying this stuff for the last 27 years, okay? Just haven't had this much verifiable evidence. I guarantee you there's no chicken bones down there in the dirt. When they dig these up, when they finally get to looking into these, they'll find no chicken bones and no copper chisels around anywhere. They just won't be there. This is advanced technology, using advanced technology, advanced tooling, advanced foreknowledge, advanced mathematics, calculus, geometry. You need to understand levels. You have to understand the rock strata that you're working with to prevent collapse. You have to understand true north. You have to understand all of this stuff. It's mind-boggling.
Every passageway in the Great Pyramid slopes at an angle of 26 degrees. That's not an accident, because the exterior of the Great Pyramid slopes at an angle of 52 degrees. 26 plus 26 is 52. So the internal corridors and passageways slope at half the angle of slope of the pyramid itself. Mathematicians were clearly at work. As you enter the pyramid, you've got to go up an ascending corridor, which also slopes at 26 degrees. Then you're going to find yourself at the level of the Queen's Chamber. And then you're going to be confronted by the Grand Gallery, which is 150 feet long, almost 30 feet high, a Corbel vault, astonishing piece of engineering and architecture in the heart of this gigantic monument. And that's only what you can see with the naked eye. Most people who go to the King's Chamber don't realize that there are 5 additional chambers above the King's Chamber. The floors and ceilings of each of those 5 chambers are floored with blocks weighing 70 tons each. Blocks of granite that were brought from Aswan, 500 kilometers to the south of Giza. There's been a very interesting scanning project on the Great Pyramid using muon rays. And this has detected a large number of other intriguing cavities within the Great Pyramid. There appears to be an entire second Grand Gallery above the Grand Gallery, which nobody's got into.
New details about the underground city beneath Egypt's pyramids have been released. During a news briefing just released, the researchers said a water system has been identified beneath the platform, located more than 2,100 feet below the Khafra pyramid, with underground pathways leading even deeper into the earth. The team used radar pulses to create high-resolution images deep into the ground beneath the structures, the same way sonar radar is used to map the depths of the ocean. While the bombshell claims have been dismissed by other experts as false and exaggerated, the team believes there's an entire hidden world of many structures more than 2,000 feet below the water system. The Italian scientist hinted that, quote, "When we magnify the images in the future, we will reveal that beneath it lies what can only be described as a true underground city," end quote. The scientists suggested that the Pyramid of Khafra might conceal undiscovered secrets, notably the fabled Hall of Records. So the Hall of Records is said to hold documents, scrolls, and other ancient materials about ancient Egypt and the lost continent of Atlantis. It is believed to be a hidden chamber beneath the Great Pyramids, or the Sphinx, containing vast amounts of lost wisdom and knowledge about the ancient civilization. These new vertical shafts, identified underneath Khafra, were about 33 to 39 feet in diameter, located at a depth of at least 2,130 feet. The team suggested that the structures could be supporting the pyramid. The scientists also noted that the cylinder structures appear to serve as access points to this underground system. Below the shafts, the team identified 2 massive rectangular enclosures, each measuring approximately 260 feet per side. According to the researchers, each of these enclosures contain 4 shafts that extend from the top and descend downward. The scientists said, quote, "The existence of vast chambers beneath the Earth's surface comparable in size to the pyramids themselves have a remarkably strong correlation between the legendary halls of Amenti," end quote. So this just in,